Today, we are delighted to have with us Channing Nally, who is the co-owner of Nally Computer Service in Springfield.
Correct.
So, along with his father, Chris.
You are correct.
And Channing is going to talk with us today about security systems. So, because that's a big thing going on these days, Channing.
You're correct on that. Currently in today's world, of course, everybody watches the news and is familiar with the drug epidemics that we have going on, and as a result of some of the less nefarious activities that you see in the world, there's been an uptick in demand for security, not just in alarm systems, but surveillance systems, inventory monitoring systems, just different pieces of technology all over.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the good things about where we're at today is a lot of this technology has gotten to be more user-friendly. You don't have to have, I think you used to have an advanced degree almost to understand how camera systems or alarm systems would work. You'd have to run wires all over your house. Many of the systems today are wireless.
Mm-hmm. And businesses, of course, here in Springfield in Washington County have had security systems, a lot of them, for a long time. So, but those, as you indicated, were put in by these professional security companies. So you're saying now that
correct.
Not so much.
Correct. You can get some simple security systems that have all wireless sensors for your doors and windows. If you can install an app on your phone, you can pretty much configure these to work. They require they monitor monthly if you have an alarm go off, or a window breach or something in that regard. They'll give you text alerts, email alerts. They can actually call you. You have a lot of different, pieces of technology now to utilize to help combat thievery or just in undesired access to your stuff. So,
an app on your phone?
Yes, you can actually set and deactivate and activate alarms now through your phone through the apps, which each one is tailor-made to its specific manufacturer. But you can allow people access to your home now remotely, even if you're not there. Say the painter shows up to paint the kitchen, you can log in on your smartphone, see that that's the painter at your front door via the ones that have webcams built into them, grant him access to your house, and then when he's done, lock it up behind him. And then
oh my gosh.
The days of leaving keys at home hidden in rocks are over. So, with the way technology is now, you can kind of go, you can keep up, you can go and do your everyday thing and still keep your house secured at home. So.
Wow. So you are, but you in your profession are getting into this home security as well, or is that what it is?
Yes, we focus on the security camera aspect of it. We have a lot of demand from clients that want to be able to log in and monitor property, or as you mentioned, commercial businesses around town, or around Springfield, Washington County. They like to be able to log in and on their phones or from anywhere, basically, if they're traveling, and see what's going on at their office, see if employees are, working or, not doing what they should be doing, and
you mean they can monitor inside with cameras to see if their employees are going about their work activities?
Correct. That's one of the biggest demands. It doesn't make me very popular when I'm in there installing these, but that's one of the biggest areas I've seen with people that want cameras, is they want to make sure that, their employees are actually, doing what they're hired to do, and not
messing around
or and not. And one of the biggest things, I guess, would be the liability of not having cameras. Also with cameras, you don't have a he said she said type event happen. You can go back and review, and you can kind of see definitively what actually happened in situations that would arise. Yes.
That is just wild. So that's kind of, putting cameras in offices and of course outside as well. I know a friend of mine has a business, and she has lots of cameras outside, and of course I guess that's very common. outside.
Very much so. In the larger cities, it's almost commonplace to be in almost every building and every home almost. When you get up to the rural areas like Washington County is, it's starting to become more common because as technology has increased, the clarity of cameras has increased, but also the cost has come significantly down on systems. And as I was saying, the same thing with alarm systems that are wireless. You can buy consumer-grade cameras now that you program through an app on your smartphone. They can set up to be remotely viewed. They can send you text alerts if they detect motion, or if someone is walking in front of that camera, it'll let you know right away. You can log in from your phone and connect up and see what's going on, and follow
Now
through
that's for like inside a home.
You can get them for outside as well. They have indoor and outdoor grade cameras for both. So you can.
And where would you purchase something like that?
See, I know Best Buy currently has a large selection of those. Walmart's getting into them actually, and a lot of the big box stores. Amazon, of course, has your biggest selection online. You can get those delivered to you. So, but yeah, you're starting to see those more and more as everything. Smart homes everything's becoming more and more integrated now. You're not just having door locks that are wireless now. You're having cameras that are triggered by door locks and alarms that are triggered. Everything can kind of daisy chain together. So.
Well, now if someone were to try to come in your home through a window, what you mean you're placing something on this window?
Correct. The window sensors kind of work. There's two pieces to them. You'll basically, as long as they stay in front of each other connected, you're fine. But if someone gains entrance, those two pieces will separate, and the moment they separate is when it triggers the alarm. Basically, once they gain access to it, to break a window open, you're going to have to mess up the sensor, and then once you do that, it triggers the alarm. And the alarm can either be set to call the police right away, or they can call you right away. And the benefit of having cameras is if it's like maybe an animal or something, so you had a dog in the house that calls, that you could log in and see right away whether it was a perpetrator coming in or if it was some other thing that happened. Because I've had a time or two where dogs have set sensors off like that, and cats especially, where they like to climb.
Okay.
It's triggered a few false alarms.
So I mean, like an individual, a homeowner, could actually install those little things themselves? Correct.
Those systems that I'm speaking of, they can be, like I said, if you can install an app on your smartphone, you can configure those. They come pretty well set up to where even the most technology challenged person could probably sit down and figure it out. And if not, everybody knows somebody probably that can, you can still get professionally installed systems.
Or they could call you.
Yeah, they could call me too. So I've set up several. So and once they go through them the first few times, it's not that hard to teach either. So the systems are all pretty much self-explanatory, and like I said, some people just need a little guidance through what they need to see.
So how much does something like that cost?
It varies depending on how many door sensors and window sensors you have to have or want, but you can get systems like that as low as $100 to $200 to $400. So I mean, it varies really depending on what scale you want to do. And the good thing about these products is scalability. You can start out small and add as you go, so you don't have to buy the whole package at once. You can grow them as you grow an area. So you may only have one window in your house that you're concerned about somebody coming in, or one door. You buy the small kit, but if you want to later, you can expand it out, and those systems will stack on top of each other actually, so you can keep growing as you add more windows, more doors, sensors. So.
Well, now, and I suppose the app itself costs.
No, the only thing with alarm monitoring, you'll have a monthly monitoring fee, and that varies from company to company. I've seen some as low as $7 and some as high as $20 a month. The app is free, and usually all that's included. Now, with security cameras, all of it's free unless you're paying an outside company to monitor. You just have the upfront cost of installation and equipment. After that, you can monitor it on the app for free. As long as you have an internet connection, you can view your cameras from anywhere in the world. So.
My goodness.
That's the #1 selling point for security cameras is the fact that they can pull them up on their phone. That's what everybody that calls right now wants. They want to be able to log in and see what's going on at any given moment and be able to access their work area. So I have people say it saves them money by being able to monitor, employees and just making sure everything, the day-to-day activities are done when they're not on site.
So now, I think you brought some things today to show that, are these cameras or something?
Yes, I brought a couple of different ones because cameras there's so many different models out there that you can get a hold of. I just wanted to bring a couple of size to show you some size differences. This particular camera is the difference between these, basically the size difference is you'll notice right away. What you really get when you get cameras is the night vision clarity. The camera inside of these is actually the same. It's a 2 megapixel high definition camera. The difference is the night scope on it. This one only goes out to about 65 foot, where this one will cover 165 foot. That's one thing to consider when somebody is going to do their own project, or when they're looking into it, is distance they're wanting to cover. So if you're in a house in a hallway, you could go with one of the smaller, cheaper cameras. You wouldn't need one in this house. But if you were outside and you wanted to, say, watch a garage that was 50, 60 feet off the house, you would maybe want to go with something a little bigger that could pick up night vision a whole lot further. Really, cameras, the ability with cameras is you can go as cheap as you want, or you can spend as much as you want. You can get cameras that track motion. So if something picks up, that camera will actually zoom in and follow that until it goes out of its path. So you can, cameras, there's a lot to them. So there's a lot of different, really the only limitation mostly with cameras anymore is your budget, because you can get some that can do, the good simple basic jobs like what this guy would do, what this camera here would do, or you can get the ones that have the higher end
Now those are
coverage.
Are these both for outside? Or?
These are both weatherproof outside grade cameras. These are completely sealed, completely locked. So, and they're also they have a little vandal-proof tampering with them as well. So you actually, if someone was to come along and cut one of these wires, the recording system would sound an alarm, and it would also be able to text alert you right away that somebody actually was vandalizing and you lost signal to a camera. So. That is one of the things. And like I said, you can get these. You can get some wireless ones, depending on, a lot of things, a lot of different. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but.
Well, because these plug into something?
Yes, these would all have an on-site recorder, and every one of these would have to run back to a recorder. Like a home. It's about the size of a TV receiver. About what they would run back to. Every one of these would have a home run line back to that recording system.
So, so you have to install lines for those.
Yeah, you would have to install lines for these particular. The benefit of a wired camera over a wireless camera is consistency. One of the things with wireless is it works really good, probably 99% of the time. But you might have if you have a lag, or if something interferes with that wireless signal, or if you get too many wireless ones on top of each other, they'll actually conflict with each other. So the benefit a lot of people have with the hardwired systems is you basically install them and you don't have to, you forget them. You install them and forget them. You don't have to do any maintenance, any upgrading, any upkeep on them. I mean, as long as they were installed properly, they're going to be there till you take them down to upgrade. So.
And so you can at any time of the day or night, just look at those through your phone.
Correct. Phone, computer.
I was going to say, do you use a computer with those as well?
You can use either or. I have people that actually have the cameras in one building and the recorder stored off site. So if someone was to gain access, they couldn't actually destroy the evidence, because the recorded footage is only as good as if somebody doesn't get the recorder. So. Right. I have several places that have them recording off-site, basically, to where if someone did gain access to an area they were not supposed to be into, they can't do anything except maybe destroy the cameras, but the footage is all still saved somewhere else. So.
Oh, now that would be saved on the computer. Is that what it would be?
Well, it'd be saved on the recorder for the cameras.
And the recorder is where? Is it hooked up to the?
If you have it on the internet and you're going to do off-site, the cameras can be set on the internet to push the signal to them, or if they're in the building, if it's in the same location, which is where most of the ones I install go on the same location, it's usually locked in like a data room where it's pretty hard to get into already. I mean, and then those, and you can still have it set up. You can actually set it up both ways, where you can have it recording on site
So
for
you have a
local access,
backup.
and then you can have off-site recording set up as well.
Oh, okay.
So you can actually do either or both. So I have people that do a little bit of everything. It gets more costly when you're doing off-site and when you're doing both. The more financially feasible option is usually to have it on site somewhere. And I tell people if they're going to put them in their house to kind of hide them, because if you put it in the entertainment center with your television and the guy comes in the house to rob you, he's going to take everything that's in the entertainment center, and that's going to go with him. So, I always tell people, because there's a lot of them that'll buy them. Like I said, Sam's Club. There's a few other places that sell complete home camera kits that a lot of people purchase, and I always tell them, make sure you think about where you want to store everything, because you don't want that to go somewhere if something happens. You want to be able to access that data.
So then you, like what you're doing is you're doing a lot of businesses
Correct.
because they have multiple kinds of systems
Yes.
in place. And then, but now, and for someone that is not looking for anything as intricate or detailed, or
Correct.
they could just it sounds to me like a business would need something a little more complicated.
It can come, complicated, it's a good term for it, but I mean, it's just a little bit, like I said, a lot of people in business, they don't want something they have to maintain. They don't want to have to come back and do a lot of work to it. They want to let it, put it in and just kind of let it run, and if they need it, then it's there. But
and if you did something like that, you'd probably go back and monitor it occasionally or check on it.
Correct. We do have some that we have to go back to and check periodically, a couple times a year, just to make sure everything is running fine. All the systems that we actually install, I include full training with, and good 2 to 3 year warranty on all the parts too. So again, and the most important thing, I guess, though, is in security business is finding somebody you can trust to help you with this stuff, because you want to keep it, with somebody that you know almost. Because there's a few companies out there, maybe some individuals or something that I've ran into in the past that have not been, the ideal person that you probably want with your security stuff. So I mean, that's the important thing for anybody out there, whether you go through me or anybody else. You want to make sure you kind of get a good idea of who, because you're entrusting your home safety or your kids' family with that stuff. So you want to make sure you do a good one.
And so if the alarm goes off, say if in your home security system, and then the police can be automatically notified.
Correct.
And do you get if this is an app, say for example, you done through your phone, does someone call you or with this app and say,
it varies
hey?
It varies from system to system. Most of them do call you. Most of them, you'll get an alert from your app saying, somebody has,
it'll come over your phone.
It'll come over your phone first, and then you'll get a phone call. Usually, again, it's how you set it up. You can have it set up to where the alarm company immediately calls the police or fire, whichever alarm sensor is triggered, or they can call you first. Or if it's, say you were setting one up for like an elderly relative, you can have it, in case they didn't set the zones right or didn't program it correctly and the alarm went off by accident, you can have them call you instead of them. That way you can that's another benefit to it too, is because like I said, if you've taken care of an elderly relative that may not understand the technology as well as some others, you can control their unit from your phone, and you can also have constant contact with the monitoring company in case something happens. So
that's a good
That's
idea.
beneficial all the way around. So.
And I didn't even think of that. So for example, if your mother or grandmother or something was living by herself or himself, you could have a system installed in their home, but not only for security purposes, but like just checking on them through the day, right?
Correct.
You could just look in on and see what's going on at the house.
I've installed a few that way they can monitor in case if you don't want them to fall, if there's something happens and they fall or hurt themselves or they fall down and can't get up, if you have a monitoring system in place, you can kind of log in and check. And I have a lot that have set those up over the years for their elderly mother or father or somebody that really, they want to still be independent, but they may not need to be 100%. They might need somebody to check on them periodically.
Yeah.
This saves you from having to drive constantly or go on, visit them constantly in case, you're out of town or anything else. You can arrange for help in case something pops up or happens. So.
Well, I really like that idea.
So.
Because that way you can look in and see what's going on, if everything's okay, and without having to be there. So that's a really good. Now, if you wanted to, is there something like you have to, if they call you, do you have to give a security code thing to them when they call you or anything?
When you set them up, when you set the account up originally, you would have to have anybody that's on the contact list would have to be set up then at the same time as well. Your name would be entered into the system along with phone number and contact information. So basically, you can give them security codes to where if they call and ask you, some questions like,
or you have a password.
A lot of it is like, everybody knows the questions like, what was your first dog, or what street did you grow up on, or questions like that. But there's a lot of them that's how they vet and make sure that who they're actually talking to is who they're supposed to be. So
they do have that on these apps.
They do have that feature as
well. Because you think about it. Someone else could answer your phone.
Correct.
And you might actually be there and incapacitated.
That's very true. But yes, they do have. You can set up code words. I don't think all of them require it. It's like I said, some of the stuff is company to company, so it's not industry standard. It's preferences, but I think that is something that most of them do. So.
Because you think about it, if someone decided to break in and they harmed you, and your alarm was ringing on your phone, a lot of good it's going to do you.
Correct.
If you can't answer it and someone answers it for you.
And in the event that would happen, and they can't come up with a security question, the alarm company would immediately phone, the local authorities to come and help. Or if they couldn't get a hold of you, they're going to call 911 by default right after that. So, which, like I said, all that saves valuable seconds, which could really save someone's life if they're, in danger or, if they've slipped and fell or anything really. So it comes in handy all the way around. So.
Well, I'm just amazed by this is that, and being able to, and we all know that in lots of situations, those cameras have helped get, perpetrators or that, have robbed or done whatever.
Correct.
And so the camera idea sounds really, really good.
One of the things I tell every customer I have is I hope you never have to use these, and basically that I hope that when you put these in, you don't ever have to go back and use them. Basically, I want you to just have, when someone comes in and they're thinking about doing something they shouldn't do, I want them to look up and see these and go down the road to somewhere else, because the best kind of,
So these are good. These are deterrents. Then,
that's what I always view with cameras, because you want a good deterrent. The best type of issue to deal with is no issue at all. So if you have a good deterrent up, most criminals are going to say, I'm going to go down the road to this other place that maybe doesn't have as good a security system in place or easier targets. So,
and sounds like, as you said, you can put in, you don't have to install the big thing. You could start out with just a few things and add on as you can, as you need to, or as you can afford to, or what have you.
Correct, and I have several customers that do that. You can get, the camera systems can come in recorders of 4 cameras, 8 cameras, 16, 32, 64, and really, if you buy an 8-channel recorder, you can buy 1 camera to start with and just add 1 each month or every 2 months, whenever you take a notion to, really, till you fill it up. I have several customers that do that as well. So, like I said, again, scalability is a big thing. You don't have to buy it all at once. You can add to it as you go. So.
So are there any ones in particular that you know of that are good systems, like with I mean, I don't know. I mean, anybody's phone, these smartphones, or all have these apps, or it's an app with their smartphone.
Correct.
So you've got a particular one you can only download on your phone anyway.
Each one has their own proprietary app that's geared specifically for that company. If I was looking at security cameras, I would stick with the IP cameras. They're going to give you your best clarity for your money. They go all the way up to 4K resolution, which, if anybody familiar with TV terminology, that's a crystal clear picture right up on top of, probably 100 feet of distance. So it's like you're in the room with them. You can pick faces out in the crowd, and you can read numbers on, license plates and books. Those also have the highest upside because that's the direction the industry is heading us toward, all IP-based camera systems. So as far as alarm systems go, ADT offers some of the features I was discussing with the apps. I think all the major ones do now. So and
so that's
yeah.
Okay, well, and then, I guess if anyone has any questions or would like to discuss that further, they could call you, Chris, and you could give them some information. Chris Channing.
That's fine. I get it all the time.
I guess Chris could too.
Yes.
Give
Between
the
both of
information.
us, we could probably figure it out what you need. And like I said, that's kind of what we're here for, is to help people out. And like I said, hopefully anybody that comes to us, I'd be happy to work with you. But if you just need a few questions answered, I'd be happy to do that as well. So.
So that's with your Nally Computer Company.
Nally
This is a business that's kind of aside from your computer work, but I guess they definitely relate.
Cameras are merging more and more. Again, IP cameras are basically small computers in and of themselves. They have their own programming, their own system set up. I mean, they connect to the internet just like a computer would. So it's really, anymore, the industry is so merging together that it's not really much of a stretch to make the jump between computers and cameras. So all the stuff is kind of blending together technology-wise. So that's a good thing for simplicity, and I'm all about simplicity. So.
Well, your simplicity sounds complex to me, Channing.
It can be, but
but I know you're in the technological field, so some people like me who are technically challenged would have to leave it up to you.
And,
so
that's why I'm in business as well. That's how I've been able to stay in business, and I have a lot of customers like that have told me up front, I don't think I can learn how to do this, and I'll spend 20-30 minutes going over it with them, and by the end of it, they're like, I can do this. I can handle this. So it's all. That's one of the better parts of my job, actually, is being able to prove people that they say that they cannot. I can show them that they can. So and that's true with cameras, computers, all of it, security-wise. So
well, that's good news. That's encouraging. Well, I want to thank you for being here today, Channing. And just in case anyone has any questions, what is your phone number?
Our phone number is 859-336-0732, and we're open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, and then Saturday from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. So.
Well, great.
You can get a hold of us anytime.
Yeah. Well, thanks for taking time to be here with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So, enjoyed it.